Hello and welcome to the Evening News for Tuesday, May 6, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, high drama unfolds at City Hall as mayor, councillors forced to host meeting in the sun. PPP says Granger is incompetent to speak about foreign policy issues. Bauxite shelves $100 million project and security guard charged for murder. Now for the news in detail. In this report, you'll hear that high drama occurred today at the Georgetown City Council when the mayor and his councillors were forced to host what they deemed an extraordinary meeting in what was extraordinarily hot sun because the town clerk locked them out of the council's chambers. More in this report.
A move by the acting town clerk to lock out councillors from the council chambers did not deter them from conducting an extraordinary statutory meeting to discuss pressing issues, including the removal of Carol Suba as acting town clerk.
Says, please be advised that acting under the powers vested in me in Section 52(1) of the Municipal and District Act, Chapter 2801, I hereby summon an extraordinary meeting of the Council for Tuesday, May the 6th, 2014 at 2 p.m. in the Council chambers. The motion. The agenda items include 3 motions submitted earlier as follows. 1. The results clause refers to a decision of Council on March 3rd, 2014 to put a qualified officer to perform the duties of town clerk. 2. The resolve clause refers to the unauthorized activities on Monday, April 21st, 2014 at the Seawall. 3. The resolve clause refers to the position of the chairman of the Finance Committee.
Sitting under the hot afternoon sun in the compound of the council, the 13 councillors present voted unanimously in favour of the motion to send Suba packing and to have the council's PRO, Royston King, appointed to act in that capacity.
We return this city to a position where we can provide the core services to the citizens without the impediment of this albatross put around us by the minister. Those in favor? Aye. Those against?
One councillor contended that Suba had been imposed on the city's councillors and the city needed to be rid of her.
This person has to move, she will move, and this Georgetown will be in the hands of the elected person. The 73% of this Georgetown population have elected the councillors to serve here. We're here, and regardless of what is state, and I agree with my fellow councillor just now. I mean, there's some times when you have parallel officers, and it is sad that they may not be reading that 28, or they don't even know how important their positions are. It is strange when you could have a follower leading you, the tail wagging the dog, and I agree with him that they're spineless. I don't want to hear anything, but they're afraid that they may be knocked off or they may be dismissed. As long as there's unity, you will have strength. And if there's any of those out who are strong enough to stand up for what is right, we will be with them and nobody will touch them. I hope they're hearing me, but this woman has to move.
King was the only officer from the council present at the meeting. While some officers were seen peeping from the office window, Suba's office remained tightly shut. For the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Clement Rohi, says government's recent decision to revoke the work permit of head of the U.S. LEAP project, Glenn Bradbury, has exposed the opposition's meager knowledge about foreign policy and international diplomacy. More from Alexis Rodney.
Rohi told reporters at the party's weekly press briefing today that the opposition leader's recent pronouncement has rendered him a stranger to foreign policy and has made him incapable of offering any meaningful contributions on the matter. Granger, meeting with reporters last week, had revealed that government will have to pay a price for terminating the work permit of the head of the Leadership and Democracy Project. Rohi, however, maintained that the move was in the best interest of all Guyanese.
His criticisms of the government's position poses direct dangers as it promotes disrespect to Guyana's right to defend its national interests and to take independent positions as a nation. it appears as if it is a crime for the government to protect our national sovereignty. The PPP will not countenance any position which will render Guyana a mere flag-bearing mendicant, which clearly the opposition leader wishes our country to be.
He continued that the Partnership for National Unity has little understanding of foreign policies and practices.
It could only be that this preoccupation with the knowledge and the deficiency of that knowledge on this subject, we see once again demonstrated in the inability to evaluate this matter from a broader, objective, and nationalist perspective.
Rohi said that other countries around the world have been standing for their rights to independence and sovereignty, and Guyana should not be exempted. He said the party, along with thousands of Guyanese, have demonstrated their preparedness to stand for the protection of the country's self-government. Last week, head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, announced that Guyana's government had made a decision to revoke the work permit of Canada-born Glenn Bradbury, who was contracted by the U.S. government to head the controversial U.S.-led project here. According to Luncheon, Bradbury had breached Guyana's immigration laws. The pronouncement seemed to have caused some alarm within the main opposition, as leader David Granger had announced that he was unaware that negotiations between the two countries on the initiative had broken down. He said, however, that the opposition had regretted the actions taken by the government, contending that the project, which is designed to promote democracy, is beneficial. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
In this report, we hear now that the courts have the final say in deciding out penalties against drug smugglers in Guyana. Here again is Alexis Rodney.
People's Progressive Party Civic General Secretary Clement Rohi made the disclosure while responding to reporters earlier today. He said that while the laws of Guyana are adequate, the courts are generally empowered to lay the final course of action against offenders. Rohi said there have been numerous attempts to legitimize and decriminalize the use of narcotics and attempts to provide cover for drug lords.
The key question to that is, where is that coming from? And who is behind that?
Unlike popular thoughts, Rohi said he was sure there was no weakness in the law. He pointed out that legal technicalities tend to step into the system between prosecutors and defense lawyers in the court. With the intercession of those technicalities, persons may be exonerated.
Further, with the frequency of bail applications to the High Court, particularly in cases with respect to possession and trafficking in narcotics, we see a flurry of granting of bails to such persons. And the question is, what signal does that send to others who may be bent on involving themselves in such illegal activities?
The United States government has acknowledged the strides Guyana has made in its drug fight, but said it is looking forward to tangible progress on investigations, prosecutions, extraditions, security sector, and port security capacity enhancement. It also said serious work needs to be done to engage at-risk communities and enforce laws against money laundering and financial crimes. According to the U.S., Guyana is a transit country for cocaine destined for its shores, Canada, the Caribbean, Europe, and West Africa. Cocaine originating in Colombia is smuggled to Venezuela and onward to Guyana by sea or air. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
The Linden Reparations Committee is joining with Guyana and the rest of the Caribbean in the demand for reparations to be paid to descendants of those who were enslaved by European governments during the slave trade. On Saturday, the Guyana Reparations Council, the GRC, joined their Linden counterparts and hosted their first outreach conference in the community. This was part of the community's celebration of the Linden Tongue Week activities. The event was held at a reparations village, which has currently been set up in Linden, and featured speeches from Chairman of the African Cultural and Development Association, Eric Phillips, and Region 10 Chairman Sharma Solomon, among other dignitaries. According to the GRC, and I quote, "International law provides that the economic and social system referred to as chattel slavery, which is the legal denial, that should be, of persons' rights to human identity and control over their bodies, was a crime against humanity subject to reparatory justice. Reparations seeks to heal, atone, and bring closure to the human tragedy of mass slavery. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the evening news. Stay tuned, more news ahead. Welcome back. This is the evening news on TVG. Bauxite Minerals Group Guyana Incorporated says it has shelved all expansion projects, including the $100 million project, which was designed to create hundreds of jobs in Linden Region 10. Swatana Marshall reports.
Bauxite Minerals Group Guyana Incorporated BMGGI General Manager Robert Chang today confirmed that the bauxite company situated in Linden Region 10 will not be pursuing the US $100 million project due to the unfavorable global bauxite market. The expansion project, which was unveiled in 2012, included the development of Block 37 at the cost of US $40 million and the construction of a third kiln to the tune of US $57 million. Given the situation on the global market, the government of Guyana has taken a decision to retain Block 37 for future projects.
The problem is that right now you see the whole market for the consigned bauxite is very, very limited. Yeah, actually, right now the market is even is not as good as before. Yeah, we get some competition from China, you see, and so right now, you see, that plan has already been detained.
Despite the challenges being faced on the global market, Chang made it clear that bauxite has no intention to downsize its operation.
Guyana bauxite, is still good. So our quality is good. Yeah, that is a very good advantage.
Mm-hmm. But you just want to expand.
The market is still there, but you see, but it's limited. So we can try our best to maintain this market. It will not shrink, but you see, the demand is always is always at a certain level. We cannot go above that.
Nevertheless, the Natural Resources and the Environment Ministry remains hopeful that an alumina plant can be established in Guyana through the utilization of Block 37. Block 37, located at the entrance of Linden in the vicinity of Millie's hideout, is considered to be one of the richest deposits in the country. Bauxite said maybe in the future it would reapply to government for the acquisition of Block 37. It also did not rule out the possibility of having an alumina plant in the country, but said it is highly dependent on the global market.
Former school teacher and journalist Leon Walcott was on Tuesday, April 29, re-elected to a second consecutive two-year term as chairman when the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities held its second biennial general meeting. Walcott was unopposed. Other members selected to the Executive Committee are Cecil Morris, Vice Chairman, Renata Eiffel, Secretary, Lynette De Weaver, Assistant Secretary, Teresa Pemberton, Treasurer, and Ganesh Singh, the Public Relations Officer. The committee members are Mark Archibald, Comston Wilson, and Genevieve MacDonald. The Guyana Council of Organization for Persons with Disabilities is a collaborative forum that was established in January 2008 and is made up of the representatives of 23 different organizations representing persons with disabilities. Its members meet regularly to support each other in the hope of building a stronger disability movement in Guyana. A center for abused children was commissioned yesterday at Ankerville, Port Morant in Berbice. More from Gabriela Patram.
Children and women who are victims of abuse and domestic violence will have a safe haven with the commissioning of the multi-million-dollar Center for Abused Children yesterday at Port Morant in Berbice. The center, an initiative of the Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha, is capable of providing temporary housing for up to 60 children and their mothers from across the country. In his address to the massive gathering, President Donald Ramotar congratulated the Sabha for the timely completion of the home. He noted that the center is one which will benefit benefit the entire country and complement the existing legislation and facilities in place. Ramatar said government recognized that simply passing the new laws on sexual offences was not enough, and therefore more attention is being placed on enforcement. The guest of honor, legendary Bollywood playback singer Sonu Nigam, who was there from the beginning of the project, expressed his appreciation to the Sabah for allowing him the opportunity to be part of this historical event in Berbice. In May 2012, Nigam, along with President Ramatar, unveiled a plan and design for the shelter. The facility was constructed by Kasam Engineering, who came in for tremendous praise from everyone for a job well done. The Sabah expressed gratitude to all those who assisted in making this project a reality and also appealed for continued support of the facility that should be operational in July. The center houses a counseling area, a skills training center, computer center, library, and healthcare facilities. For the evening news, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Now for some news from the courts. A security guard was today remanded before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarain Bihari when he appeared before her to answer to the charge of murder in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. Kelvin Trisham, who is an employee at Dr. Shivanand Clinic at Thomas Street, is accused of murdering Nigel Lawson on May 2 at Kwamina Street after the two were involved in an argument. Prosecutor Bharat Mangru told the court that around 19:45 on the day in question, Trisham confronted Lawson about a cell phone and an Apple iPod. An argument ensued between the two men and Lawson was stabbed with a knife. The now dead man received injuries as a result of the stabbing and subsequently died. The prosecutor further informed the court that there is one witness thus far, but investigation into murder is incomplete. Additionally, the police haven't yet received any advice from the Director of Public Prosecution's office regarding the case. Trisham was unrepresented and will make his next court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Priya Sinarain Bihari on May 16. More of the evening news after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the evening news. Some more news from the courts. Junior Miller, also known as Alicia Miller, pleaded not guilty to the charge of robbery after appearing in the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Tuesday before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarain Bihari. It is alleged that on April 27, Miller, along with others, robbed Imtiaz Bacchus of one BlackBerry phone valued $70,000 and $10,000 in cash. The 27-year-old, who is said to be a commercial sex worker and resides at First Street, Albertown, was represented by attorney at law Paul Fangafat. Fangafat told the court that the virtual complainant gave his client a counterfeit $5,000 note as payment for services rendered, and after the discovery was made, his client held the phone until he received proper payment. He requested reasonable bail for Miller. However, prosecutor Bharat Mangru said that on the day in question, at about 22 hours, the VC went to Shell gas station on Regent Street and took out his phone to answer a call. Miller approached the virtual complainant from behind, and when he turned around, Miller grabbed the phone while another person who was accompanying him relieved the VC of the cash. The prosecutor objected to bail based on the seriousness and prevalence of the offence and also said that bail should be granted. Miller may never return to court. Miller was remanded to prison and will make his next court appearance before Magistrate Julie Latchman on May 19. The Indian Monument Garden came alive last evening as the Indian Commemoration Trust held the annual Pushpanjali. Gabriela Patram reports.
The ICT last evening held the 14th annual Pushpanjali, which means offering flowers at the Monument Gardens at Church and Camp Streets. The event was hosted to mark the 176th anniversary of the arrival of East Indians here. The evening was defined by a period of reflections on the accomplishments of East Indians within the Guyanese society and the region. Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary Carl Singh, while delivering feature remarks at the event, stated that there is a misconception that the first batch of East Indians had life easy when they arrived. He said there was a need to pay more attention to some of the hardships they went through in order to appreciate the Herculean value of their achievements.
The Chief Justice of British Guyana, whose sympathetic disposition to the Indian immigrant was well known, described indentureship as a monstrous, rotten system rooted upon slavery, grown in its stale soil, emulating its worst abuses.
Meanwhile, Indian High Commissioner to Guyana T. Rat Singh expressed satisfaction with the event being hosted as he lauded the good relations between Guyana and India. Meanwhile, the ICT took the time to honor 3 outstanding East Indians Guyanese for their contributions to the overall development of Guyana. Mr. Satar Ghafoor and his wife Amina Ghafoor were recognized for their contributions to literature, the industry and civil society in the Caribbean and diaspora. Additionally, Justice Singh was recognized for his erudite accomplishments in law and the justice system. For the evening news, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Siraj Sukraj today appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts to answer the charge of unlawful wounding. Sukraj pleaded not guilty to the charge, which alleged that on May 1, he unlawfully wounded Stanley Prasad. He told the court that on the day in question, he was going to work when he stopped at a shop to buy a beer. The virtual complainant was in the said shop, and upon seeing him, the VC proceeded to call him names. He further stated that the man hit him with a bottle, and he retaliated by pulling out a knife and stabbing him in the chest area. Prosecutor Bharat Mangru made no objections to bail, and Sukraj was granted bail in a sum of $50,000. He is to make his next court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court on May 30. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the evening news. Stay tuned for news ahead. Welcome back. This is the evening news. Now some news from the region. Trinidad's Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar said last evening that her government is offering an additional $2.5 million TNT to anyone who can help with information leading to the arrest, prosecution and conviction of those involved in the murder of Senior Counsel Dana Sitahall. This is in addition to the $1 million TNT reward being offered by Crime Stoppers. Persad-Bissessar said should the investigation require foreign resources and expertise, that too will be provided by the state. Protection has also been offered to other members of the justice system who feel that their security could be jeopardized following the shooting. Persad-Bissessar said a big investigating team has been assigned to the Sitahall murder case. Meanwhile, St. Lucia's government and trade union officials will meet again on Friday following their weekend talks. Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony said the talks were intended to identify the options available to his administration to revive an ailing economy. Anthony met with the public sector unions to offer proposals on how recurrent expenditure could be reduced. He told them that if the consensus is reached, then the government would be willing to enter into a memorandum of understanding with them. But the meeting was boycotted by the largest public sector trade union, the Civil Service Association, which has already signaled that it will not accept a 5% cut in salary and wages for its members. Internationally, suspected Boko Haram militants have kidnapped 8 more girls in northeastern Nigeria. The latest kidnapping happened on Sunday night in the village of Warabe in Borno State. The girls taken were between the ages of 12 and 15. The gunmen arrived in 2 trucks and also seized animals and food from the village. On Monday, Boko Haram's leader threatened to sell more than 230 girls seized from their school also in Borno on April 14. This is the evening news, where we now take a look at your bridge reports. The Damrar Harbour Bridge will be closed on Wednesday, May 7 at 10 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Wednesday, May 7 at 9 hours 35 for a period of 1.5 hours. Now for a look at your ferry report. The Parika and Supanam ferries will be departing at 7 hours on Wednesday, May 7, 2014. Both ferries are also slated to depart their respective locations at 19 hours on Wednesday, May 7, 2014. This is the evening news. Stay tuned for sports, sponsored by Macro. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first, the headlines. Regal Cups Open and Masters titles at Independence Cup. Powerade cycling meet on this weekend, and Mumbai Indians defeat RCB by 19 runs. Of course, our sportcast comes to the kind compliments of Macwarp.
This is the machine you asked for, and it's what we are delivering. Introducing the new CAT D2 series.
Improvements made with you in mind. A mechanically controlled engine designed to cope with Guyana's toughest conditions. Lower fuel consumption and less maintenance, which reduces your owning and operating costs. The highest productivity in the market. Robust design, which is built to last. MACORP, the only authorized Caterpillar dealer in Guyana, bringing integrated solutions for your success. Let's build Guyana together.
And now for the details, we start off with some softball news. Regal 11 cup both the Open and Masters titles, while Trophy Stall Angels and Mike's Well Woman shared a female title when action in the inaugural Independent Softball Cup, organized by the Georgetown Softball Cricket League, concluded on Monday evening. More on this report. Dubbed the pre-tournament favourites, Regal 11 defeated Memorex of Berbice by 7 wickets in the Open final after their Masters team had prevailed over Frontline Rangers by 4 wickets to lift the Masters title. Batting first in the Open final, Memorex made 154 for 8 from the allotted 20 overs, with David Lukenott hitting 37 and Wahid Edwards 32, as Shine Giddings picked up 3 for 24. Giddings then hit an unbeaten 62 to lead Regal to victory at 155 for 3 in 17.2 overs, in the process copying the Man of the Match award. In the Masters final, Frontline Rangers made 153 for 5 from 20 overs, with Mohamed Rafiq hitting 63 and Satrohan Siraj taking 3 for 24. Yunus Yusuf then hit 39 to lead Regal to victory at 154 for 6 from 18 overs. In the female category, Trophy Stall Angels and Mike's Well Woman agreed to share the spoils evenly after their game was cancelled due to insufficient playing time following their semi-final victories over Regal champs and Caribbean Strikers. The 3-day competition, which attracted 20 teams across the 3 categories, was organised by the Georgetown Softball Cricket League with support from the National Sports Commission. Now some international cricket news. A brilliant all-round effort powered Mumbai Indians to a 19-run win over the Royal Challengers Bangalore in match 27 of the Pepsi IPL in Mumbai. Skipper Rohit Sharma struck a superb 59 not out, including 24 off 1 over for Varun Aaron. Kieran Pollard then struck 6 fours, that should be in 43, while extras contributed 25 in Mumbai Indians 187 for 5. Chris Gale, 38 off 24 balls, got Bangalore off to a flying start, but wickets stumbled regularly as they managed 168 for 8 from the allotted 20 overs. Jasprit Bumrah, Lasith Malinga and Harbhajan Singh picked up 2 wickets each. 2 matches are on tomorrow, with the Delhi Daredevils against the Kolkata Knight Riders and the Kings 11's Punjab against Chennai Super Kings. Meanwhile, former captain Waqar Younis has been appointed Pakistan coach for the second time, nearly 3 years after quitting for personal and health reasons. The Pakistan Cricket Board, PCB, announced in a statement that Waqar had been given a 2-year contract. The former coach Dave Watmore decided in February not to extend his 2-year contract with the PCB. Another former captain, Moin Khan, was named interim coach for the Asia Cup and the World T20 tournaments earlier this year and has now been appointed chief selector and manager for Pakistan. Waqar, who took 373 test and 416 one-day international wickets, formed a formidable new ball attack with Wasim Akram in the late 1990s before retiring in 2003. Finally, some cycling news. The veteran rider Paul Chouinam will look to keep his hands on the trophy on Saturday when he defends the feature 35-lap schoolboys and invitational race sponsored by Banks DIH Limited through its Powerade energy drink for the 3rd year in succession. Let's find out more in this report. Chouinam outgunned fellow veteran rider Stephen Fernandez in the main race in 2013 at the inner circuit of the National Park, finishing in a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, 12 seconds to take the trophy and 2 prime prizes. This time around, though, the defending champion will face a tough task as all the riders will be using the event to test their preparedness for the 32nd annual Independence 3-stage meet built for May 17 and 18. Saturday's race is the last before the staging of the grueling 171.5 miles event sponsored by the National Sports Commission. Among the cyclists looking to test Chouinam are Renaud Jeffrey, Alonso Graves, Paul de Nobrega, Hamza Eastman, Marlon Williams, Junior Niles and Albert Philander. The other category winners last year were Eastman in the juveniles, Niles in the veterans under 50, Lancelot Rose in the veterans over 50, Morris Fagundes in the veterans over 60, Stefano Husbands in the mountain bikes, Alfie Sunaram in the 12 to 14 boys and girls, Jeremiah Harrison in the BMX boys 6 to 9, Sherwin Sampson in the BMX boys 9 to 12, Jamal John in the BMX boys 12 to 14, and Hasina Barrett in the female category. As he did last year, Banks DIH Limited's outdoor event manager Mortimer Stewart will witness the races and later assist in the presentation of prizes to the top 3 finishers in the respective categories. Today's activities are being organised by long-serving national cycling coach Hassan Mohammed. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Marcorp. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in George and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. And with that, we've come to the end of the evening news for today, Tuesday, May 6, 2014. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.